I, 39 male, have been married to my wife, 36 female, for 11 years with 2 kids. We haven't had a perfect marriage, mostly due to my depression and anxiety, at all but do love each other. When we started dating, we both agreed cheating is not an option since her previous boyfriend cheated on her. With that said, over the course of our marriage, I have caught her emotionally cheating on me twice. Both times she blew it off because she never initiated the conversations. I knew it was just texts, but was still hurt. That was years ago, and we moved on. About a year ago, I got the feeling she was emotionally cheating again. At this time, our sex life was very minimal, maybe twice a month. Instead of exploding, I just let it go because I didn't have proof. About a month or 2 later, I asked if she was flirting with anyone else because she started getting really into sexy underwear. She had mentioned taking pictures, but I wasn't getting them. She said it just made her feel good, so I believed it. Around January of 2023, I saw a message she had with her massage therapist basically saying that felt so good. His response was yay, but what are we going to do, leave our spouses? I didn't confront her about that because it could just meant the massage, so I let it go. Then on Valentine's Day, we went to a show. She casually mentioned to me I should date someone else because her friend does that and they are extremely happy. That's when I knew but needed proof. At this time, I decided to be a better partner. Our marriage became so much better, but I couldn't shake that she probably cheated on me. I asked her again if she ever cheated on me, and she said no. Fast forward to the end of October, we are great, probably the best we've been. She got a new phone, but needed something off her old phone. That was my opportunity. I looked through her messages with her best friend. I went back a year, and sure enough, I read it. They started flirting around November, and the affair started in January. I confronted her the next day, while the kids were staying at my sister-in-law's house. She told me everything. It happened 5 times all while she was getting massages, and once at a hotel. It's not ongoing, and she blocked him before the confrontation. It ended at the end of August, beginning of September. Between us, talking that night, and what I read, I gathered she was looking for a replacement for me, but he was just looking for a fuck buddy. About him, he ended up getting fired, I'm guessing from having sex at the place. My wife believes she wasn't the only one. I was devastated. I told her I needed time to think. She did seem extremely sorry for what she did, and also relieved I found out, so she didn't have to live with it. But she also took shots at me while she apologized. A week later, we had another talk, and I let her know how hurt I was. I never got angry, just emotionally numb. But as of right now, I want to try to work this through because of our kids. I'm already looking into therapy, and have been watching videos that are somewhat helpful. But now, I don't know if I can stay. I don't feel like I will ever get over this. As expected, we haven't had sex since the confrontation, because I honestly don't think I can with her. Part of me wants to cheat on her, just so she can feel what I'm feeling, but I know that is extremely damaging and somewhat abusive. She mentioned she doesn't think I can handle leaving because of my mental health. Honestly, those thoughts have come, but I have been good at working through them. It would be so much easier to leave if we didn't have kids and weren't having a great marriage the past couple of months. How do people who have been cheated on stay together? I just don't see any way I can without making our marriage worse. Update number 1. This update is about 3.5 weeks after D-Day. Just had our first post-D-Day argument. When it initially went down and the days after we talked, and I explained that I was going to stay and we were going to try and work through this. Since then, I have been spiraling down mentally, just non-stop thinking about it, and the biggest one, triggers. I never even knew triggers were a thing until they happened. And as of the non-stop thinking about it isn't bad enough, the triggers are like being tackled by a 6'7", 300-pound linebacker. Which leads us to tonight. She brought up about going to see this band we both like. I said I didn't really want to go. It was the first message I saw between her and the affair partner. They had a connection with this band. I thought for a minute and decided it was a good time to bring up triggers. It instantly started an argument that went back in circles, and everything came up again. After a good 10 minutes of arguing, I straight up asked if we should separate, and her answer killed me. It wasn't an instant, "No, we can get through this, but more of do what you want." I then got angry and told her I shouldn't be the only one fighting to keep this family together, and we walked away. Now I'm seriously considering leaving, but with the holidays, it's tough. I'm really just looking for advice on how post-D-Day arguments go. I understand it was heated, and we are going to have those, but man, it sucks. Update number 2. So I started therapy today, 3 weeks post-D-Day. It was incredible. She told me 2 things that stuck with me. The first was to slow down. As expected, my mind has been racing since D-Day, which also includes my next steps. Every day, I've been playing out my next steps, which includes planning out the next couple of months. Hearing to slow down was something I really needed to hear. The next was about whether I wanted to reconcile or not. Told her one of my biggest issues was when I asked my wife if she wanted me to stay. She really didn't give me a straight answer, and that devastated me. I'm the betrayed in my situation, so it was very frustrating that I didn't know if she wanted me to stay. She gave me the advice of don't base your future on her needing to give me an answer and to try to work together and see if the answer comes on, if we stay or I go. This was incredibly eye-opening to hear. I thought my immediate next step was to leave or stay when it should have been to work together to see if we thought I should stay or leave. Update number 3. It's funny how quickly things can change. D-Day was October 21, 2023. I found out my wife was having an affair for 6 months. At the time, I wasn't sure what to do, but having 2 young kids, I decided to just keep trying and make it work for them. Since then, I started counseling, and it helped me a lot. I thought we were on the right path. Then, last night happened. Last night, I found out she's been having contact with him again. I confronted her calmly. She admitted to talking again, but nothing happened. I just left the house. I decided I was done. For me to try to stick around after what she's done to just be slapped in the face. I told her this morning we needed to talk tonight. She kept insisting on just texting. I felt like she knew what was coming, so I just laid it out. And as of this afternoon, I am no longer in pain. The weight has been lifted. I'm calm. I don't have to worry if she will cheat again or talk to him. I'm at peace. It's strange. I don't want to discourage others. If you guys can make it work, please do. But I cannot exaggerate how calm I am. What I find ironic is she told me she can't stop crying, and I don't feel bad. Because of a lot of comments saying stop talking to her, kick her out, make her pay and such. She's still the mother of my kids. For the time being, we are both living at home. For the time being, because of a lot of other stuff happening in our lives, I'm not moving out yet. I will, but because of the kids and our extended family, the divorce won't be happening in the very near future. While yes, it was horrible what she did, she's still a great mom. And the little talking we did yesterday, we are both 100% focused on just giving the best lives possible for our kids. Because she's the breadwinner, I will be the one moving out when that time comes. I will not be asking for anything, money, house, or stuff that usually drags divorces to pad the lawyer's pockets. This is my decision just to make as quick as it can be. This is the last update provided in this story. I have dug deeper, but this is the last piece of useful information regarding this story. For me, the decision to divorce is the best official poster could do in this situation. What do you think about this story? Provide your valuable feedback and suggestions in the comment section below. If you are watching my content and aren't subscribed yet, please do. It really helps me a lot. Let me start from the beginning here. It was a hot summer day, and I could feel beads of sweat forming on my forehead as I made my way to our wedding venue for our 4-month out meeting to finalize details with my fiancée. She had left straight from work, so we decided to drive separately. The sun beat down on my car as I drove, the radio playing softly in the background. As we went over the last few details at the venue, my fiancée suddenly mentioned that her friend needed a ride home. Apparently, her rental car had broken down and she was stranded. My fiancée asked if it would be okay if she hitched a ride with us, and without hesitation, I said yes. After all, it wasn't too far from our home, and I knew her friend well. After the meeting, I headed home, eagerly anticipating seeing my fiancée again after being apart for a few hours. But as time passed, and I still hadn't heard from her, worry began to gnaw at me. 3 hours went by with no word from her, despite numerous attempts to reach her. Finally, at around the 1:30 mark, I texted her friend and asked if everything was alright. It wasn't until later, when my fiancée finally arrived home, that she explained what had happened. As it turns out, she had hung out with her friend for a bit before leaving for home. While relieved that she was safe and sound, I couldn't help but feel frustrated that she hadn't let me know and put me through hours of worry. When I confronted her friend about why she didn't make it to the venue for the ride home, she seemed taken aback and claimed that she never saw my fiancé that night. Bewildered by this conflicting information, I couldn't help but feel suspicious and uneasy about the whole situation. It seemed like something was off, and I couldn't shake the feeling of unease that lingered in the air. My hands trembled as I scrolled through her phone records, something I had never done before but felt compelled to in the moment. Guilt gnawed at my conscience, but I couldn't stop myself from seeing who she had been talking to. When she went outside, she immediately called her friend, who had texted me right after. My heart dropped at the realization that they were most likely discussing me. But it wasn't just her friend. There was also an hour-long call with a number I didn't recognize on the way to the venue. My mind raced with questions as I confronted her about it. She answered quickly, brushing off my concerns and giving what seemed like legitimate explanations. I tried to convince myself that I was overreacting, that maybe I needed to calm down and sleep on it. But then this morning, I asked her to show me the text from her friend, asking for a ride, and I would apologize for doubting her. She refused. That's when I knew she was lying. When I caught up to her yesterday, on the way to the venue, she was on the phone with someone else. But when I asked her about it, she claimed it was the same friend she picked up later on. But I had seen her phone records, and that wasn't true. She changed her story once again, saying that she needed to meet up with a coworker to discuss a patient. The details seemed hazy and suspicious. Who was this coworker, and why couldn't they discuss it over the phone? When I asked to see the texts between them, she adamantly refused. Panic began to set in, as I wondered if there was something going on between them. Could she be having an affair? Did she not want to be with me anymore? She paused before speaking, as if carefully choosing her words. And then came a barrage of criticisms about me, working too much, not spending enough time with her, not listening. My world seemed to crumble as I realized that the person I loved and trusted had been keeping secrets from me. As I listened to the shocking revelations, my mind races to piece together the puzzle that has been hidden from me. A sinking feeling settles in my stomach as I realize something shady is going on behind my back. Despite my disbelief, I insist on seeing the texts for proof. It takes half an hour of persistent persuasion before she finally shows me the messages, and they are jaw-dropping. They are filled with explicit sexual references and derogatory remarks about me, along with declarations of love between her and her co-worker. My heart sinks as I remember that she just started working at this job 1 month ago, where he is also employed. To make matters worse, he is significantly older than her and divorced with multiple children. I have been financially supporting her for the past few months while she got back on her feet, even taking on extra work so she wouldn't have to get a part-time job. We live together in our own house, sharing it with our 3 beloved dogs and horses. It's like a nightmare unfolding before my eyes, one that I never saw coming, despite our planning to get married in just 4 short months. I am at a loss and desperate for any helpful advice right now. Update number 1. As an update, I was finally able to sit down with her tonight and go over this delicate situation. Her posture was tense, and her words were sharp as she tried to deflect the blame onto me for her actions. She attempted to justify her cheating and lying by pointing out my supposed lack of communication and listening skills. According to her, if I had paid more attention and devoted more time to our relationship, she wouldn't have sought comfort in the arms of another man. But as I tried to explain, my extra hours at work were meant to support her and our family financially during her struggles. She dismissed it and claimed that she would have preferred getting a part-time job instead. This made no sense to me. She seemed to think that because it was a short-lived affair, only 1 week she claimed, and they only kissed once, we could easily move past it. My heart raced as I confronted her about the hurtful texts she had sent, trashing me and engaging in sexual conversations with him. She deflected my words with ease, refusing to take responsibility for her actions. Frustration mounted within me as I tried to make her understand that I was not the cause of this betrayal. She had gone too far and should have considered the potential consequences before acting on her impulses. Trust shattered between us, and it seemed impossible to mend. As we continued to talk, the tension eased slightly. We acknowledged that our main focus now should be figuring out what to do about our joint property and our 3 beloved dogs. After much discussion, we agreed that one of us would either stay and buy out the other's share, or we would sell the place altogether and find new homes. The fate of our furry companions remained uncertain, with only one of us being able to keep one while the other's future was still undetermined. As the night drew to a close, this was where we ended up. I'll make sure to keep you all updated on any progress that comes our way. Now, about the house. I'm sure you're all wondering what should be done with it. It's a sprawling 3,000 square feet, perched upon 5 acres of lush land that was initially purchased solely for the purpose of housing her beloved horse. However, with her departure comes the loss of the horse as well, as she plans to board it at a nearby barn. As much as it pains me, I am able to cover the costs on my own, but is it worth it? The house holds so many memories, so much history. It almost feels alive in its own right. What would you do in my shoes? Update number 2. Day 3. As the sun set and painted the sky in a fiery orange hue, I finally had the chance to sit down with her for a much-needed conversation. We talked about our relationship, delving into its complexities and what led to the recent events that shook us both. She started by explaining everything that I had done wrong, the lack of communication, my constant focus on work, and my phone. As much as I hated to admit it, I couldn't disagree with any of these things. My drive to provide for our family had consumed me, causing me to run my e-commerce business and handle customer service single-handedly, never truly clocking out. I could have prioritized better and given myself some time away from my phone, responding to people at a reasonable hour instead of constantly being available. But it wasn't just my fault. We both struggled with communication issues, a glaring example being her unhappiness with my behavior that she never vocalized until now. She confessed feeling hesitant to bring it up, afraid of how I would react. And yet, she never gave me the opportunity to address it and make things right. I know I'm not perfect, and sometimes my words or actions can be interpreted as harsh by her, but that doesn't mean I don't love her deeply and want to work on our flaws together. It was just a week or two ago when I attempted to assist my partner in resolving her financial troubles. As someone who works in the financial industry, this is a task I often handle for clients. She had mentioned owing me around $1,000 and promised to return it in her next paycheck. However, as we combed through our joint account transfers, we discovered that she actually owed over $5,000. My intention was not to shame her, but to show how much I had been contributing to our finances. Unfortunately, she took this as an attempt to embarrass her. I understand that perhaps my timing was off, but I truly just wanted to help and ensure our financial stability. With the wedding approaching, my budgeting mindset was on overdrive. Yet, instead of acknowledging my efforts, she continues to justify her actions by blaming my supposed flaws. She tells me that I am too focused on money and that I threw away 7 years of our relationship with my reaction. But I have to remind her that it was her actions that caused this rift between us. She keeps insisting that if I had been a better listener and communicator, she wouldn't have had to turn to someone else for help. It's frustrating because she also believes we could have resolved this issue without involving others if only I hadn't told so many people so quickly. But the truth is, her lack of communication and honesty is what led us here in the first place. After hours of careful examination and reading through incriminating text messages, I have finally uncovered the extent of their affair. It began innocently enough with casual conversations via text 1 to 2 weeks prior. But as time went on, things escalated to a point where they met up outside of work, this time at the park for a game of basketball and some private conversation. The details are still fuzzy, but it appears that they engaged in intimate activities, stopping just short of going all the way. However, I have reason to believe that if it hadn't been for my discovery, things would have progressed even further. As if that wasn't enough, she has also been lying about her whereabouts and taking off without explanation, presumably to be with him or a female friend who might cover for her. Living together in such an awkward situation is not ideal, but I am hopeful that we can resolve this issue soon. Despite everything, part of me suspects that she wants us to reconcile and try to repair our relationship. Communication breakdowns seem to be the root cause of our problems, one that festered over time while we fell into a monotonous routine. Instead of addressing the issues with me directly, she acted out and resorted to deception and spreading rumors behind my back. Even now, I find it hard to fully trust her again. While giving in and getting back together may seem like the easiest solution, deep down, I know it wouldn't make me truly happy in the long run. With a newfound understanding of the root cause, I finally feel a sense of peace. It's as if a weight has been lifted off my shoulders, knowing that I can now work on addressing my own personality flaws and communication issues. Everything suddenly seems clearer, and I can see things from a different perspective. In an effort to prioritize my mental health, I started hitting the gym today and will make it a regular routine. Additionally, I have decided to pick back up on studying for my CFP designation. To fully focus on myself, I took a week off from work. Today, I made the difficult call to officially cancel the wedding venue. While we were able to get some money back, there was still some loss involved unless another couple is able to take our date. As for her parents who live far away, I have kept them updated throughout this process to ease any worries they may have about their daughter's well-being. After doing some research, I realized that with today's interest rates, finding a comparable house for what I currently pay in mortgage is near impossible. So instead, I am considering buying out her share and helping her find an apartment. Thankfully, she seems agreeable to this option at the moment. We will be bringing in an appraiser to assess the value of our home and determine what half of the equity would be and if it is feasible for me. I would love to hear your thoughts on these recent developments. Does this new information change your perspective? Am I handling the situation properly? If not, what steps do you recommend I take? Update number 3. It has been almost a full month since the events of that fateful day, and I feel it is time to update you all on what has transpired. These past few weeks have been a whirlwind of emotions as I have navigated through various milestones and challenges. I won't sugarcoat it. In the first few days after the incident, I was a pitiful mess, desperately trying to win back the affection of this cheating individual. It's embarrassing to admit, but it was all part of the healing process. In my vulnerable state, I tried everything in my power to make things right and salvage our relationship, but nothing worked. Eventually, I was given an ultimatum. Her decision was between choosing me or him, and she ultimately chose him. That was a harsh wake-up call for me, as I realized I had allowed my self-worth to plummet while desperately clinging to someone who did not value me. At that moment, I knew I needed to step back and focus on myself and what was best for me. After 7 years of putting someone else's needs before my own, it can be difficult to shift that focus. But I am committed to prioritizing my own well-being and happiness now. It hasn't been easy, but every day I am taking steps towards reclaiming my sense of worth and finding my own path forward. With a heavy heart, I made the decision to move our joint savings accounts into my individual checking account. The numbers on the screen represented not just money, but also the end of a relationship that had once held so much promise. After calculating what was owed to me, I transferred half of the balance back to the joint account for her to take. It was a small gesture, but it felt like the right thing to do. In the aftermath of this breakup, I've been hitting the gym every day without fail. Pumping iron and pushing myself physically has not only improved my physical appearance, but also helps me clear my head and think more clearly. And for someone who always put their own needs aside in favor of providing for a significant other and their pets, it's been empowering to finally do things for myself. I even went suit shopping and treated myself to a massage, luxuries that I never allowed myself before. But it's not just about material things. In an effort to heal and grow from this experience, I've started seeing a therapist on a weekly basis, something I never thought I would do. Talking things out with a professional has been immensely helpful in my decision-making process and overall well-being. And even after this situation resolves itself, I may continue therapy as a means of continuous self-improvement. As I navigate through this difficult situation, one thing remains constant: the tension between my ex and I. We still live together in the same house, but our interactions are limited to a few words exchanged about basic tasks like feeding the dogs. The space between us is thick and heavy with resentment and anger. In my mind, she is a vile person whose actions cannot be justified. No matter what I say, she will always see me as the one at fault for our failed relationship. But amidst all of this, I have been trying to move forward by listing the house for sale. It has been a challenging process, as my ex insists on being involved and making decisions despite her lack of contribution or effort. She suggested that I contact 2 other agents for their opinions, one of whom was recommended by her friend. And so, I made all the calls and set up appointments to meet with these agents, just as I have always done in our past relationship, where I constantly put in more effort than she did. After meeting with all 3 agents, we ultimately decided to go with the first one, who had initially impressed me with their proposed sale price. We wasted no time in getting things moving. Pictures were taken on Sunday, and by that night, the house was officially listed for sale. An open house is scheduled for next Saturday, and already there has been a significant amount of interest on real estate websites. As much as I want to leave this toxic environment behind, part of me can't help but feel a twinge of sadness at the thought of leaving this place that used to be our home. But it's time to move on and start fresh somewhere else. She will be leading the magnificent horse to a rustic weathered barn nestled in an unknown location. Despite my initial hesitance, our conversation about the dogs ended positively as she graciously offered to take all 3 of them with her to keep them together. Their wagging tails and playful barks fill the air with pure joy, making it difficult for me to part with them, but I know they will be well taken care of. Unexpectedly, a week ago, I met someone who has become a constant presence in my life. We spend endless hours together, simply enjoying each other's company. She understands and empathizes with the situation I'm going through, having experienced something similar herself. Her kind and thoughtful nature, combined with her independence, has opened my eyes to the toxic dynamic of my previous relationship. My ex was a self-absorbed narcissist, dependent on others for their own happiness and manipulative in their actions. The realization hits hard, knowing that I should have listened to the warnings from family and friends long ago. I was trapped in a comfortable routine, not truly living or finding joy in life. But now I see the value in taking a step back and reflecting on one's own happiness. It may seem like wasted time, but I am using this as a learning experience to better myself in the future. I will no longer ignore red flags or fall into the trap of simplicity. I am grateful for the relationships I have maintained with friends and family throughout all of this. They have been a constant source of support and love. And lastly, I want to give a heartfelt shout out to everyone on here who took the time to comment on my original post. Knowing that complete strangers were willing to offer advice and help me through a tough time is truly heartwarming. Every single comment was read and contributed to where I am now. As I eagerly anticipate the next chapter in my life, I am filled with gratitude for all of you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. As we bring this story to a close, let us pause and consider the lessons it imparts. Each person's journey through hardship and recovery is deeply personal, yet universally resonant. This narrative has not only shared the struggles of its central figure, but also highlighted the profound capacity for human growth and redemption. It serves as a beacon, reminding us that even in our darkest moments, there is hope and possibility for renewal. Thank you for tuning in and sharing in this exploration of resilience. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe to WTF Media for more real stories and hit the like button. May this story serve as an inspiration, encouraging everyone to face their challenges with courage and to emerge stronger on the other side.